the Supreme Court, which has given state officials the green light to continue valuation of properties belonging to businessman Alfred Agbesiwoyome. The state is currently trying to retrieve 51.2 million cedis paid the businessman wrongfully. Mr. Woyome has already paid 4 million cedis but is currently facing oral examination as the Attorney General describes the amount as paltry, with remaining payments not forthcoming. Mr. Woyome on Monday challenged the legality of the valuation of some of his properties, describing the act as not backed by law. Delivering his judgment, sole Judge Justice A.A. Benning described the application as lacking merit.
So there were two issues that were to be decided by the court presided over by Justice A.A. Benning. The first one had to do with a businessman challenging the legality of valuation of his assets, with the second one having to do with a motion he was supposed to move for a halt of the oral examination. The latter was not moved as the judge raised some concerns about the writ that had been brought before the court. The concern really had to do with whether they wanted a three-member panel to hear the matter, or they wanted the sole judge, Justice Benning, who was hearing the oral examination, to be the same judge to hear the matter. Because of the lack of clarity, Justice Benning directed that lawyers for the businessman write to the Chief Justice seeking for direction on the matter. The court, meanwhile, proceeded to deal with the issue of valuation of the properties belonging to the businessman Alfred Agbesiwoyome. Justice Benning dismissed that challenge of the legality as saying that it lacked merit. The reason the court gave was to the effect that when the state issued the first writ asking that some properties of the businessman be attached, that was carried out on the 9th of January 2015. As was explained by Deputy Attorney General Godfred Yeboah-Dame, the court agreed with him that on the 6th of January 2016, a second writ was issued. Now, the Justice Benning explained that since that second writ was issued before expiration of the first writ, it's even rendered the second one ineffective as per the attachment provided by the registrar of the High Court. It appeared they acted on the basis of the first writ that was issued and granted by the court. So on that basis, he said it lacked merit. The concern again that officers of the High Court issued a writ rather than officers of the Supreme Court. Justice Benning did explain that it was because the Supreme Court didn't have the machinery to undertake that exercise. So even though officers of the High Court issued a writ, they issued it under the express orders of officers of the Supreme Court, making it an act of the Supreme Court and not an act of the High Court. Deputy Attorney General Godfred Yeboah-Dame, who has some reservations about the actions of the businessman, which he describes as all efforts aimed at delaying the state's attempt to retrieve the money, raised those concerns when he addressed the media, but he vowed the state will go after the businessman's properties once they identify them.
Meanwhile, Deputy Attorney General Godfred Yeboah-Dame has expressed frustration over delays in the bid to recover Mr. Woyome's assets.
But I can assure you that nothing whatsoever will hinder the state in its effort to recover the money. These are all ploys that will be swept away. No impediment whatsoever that is placed in the way of the state by Mr. Woyome will prevent or hinder or obstruct the state from recovering the money. Surely the day of reckoning will come, as I indicated earlier on.
Why are you satisfied with the pace?
Yes, I think that the judge has demonstrated some urgency. Today is my agenda to judge the 30th of October, and I think that it's not too bad. It's good.
So what are we expecting on the 30th?
Examination of Mr. Woyome. That will continue. As the judge indicated, that's a business for the next agenda date, 30th October. We'll have him in the box. If he doesn't come, the next consequences will follow.
By consequences, what exactly do you mean?
Well, don't worry. I'll keep it under my sleeves, and when we come to court, we'll roll it out.
The court dismissed an application seeking to stop the valuation and seizure of some of the properties of Mr. Woyome. Now that the application has been dismissed, are we going to see more of his properties being seized?
Yes. We're not leaving this stone unturned at recovering or identifying all the assets owned by him. And we're still continuing those efforts. We're still making necessary inquiries and searches. And I believe that when we come to the relevant discoveries, the public will hear about them.
Away from the court, the Ghana Cylinder Manufacturing Company GCMC says it is ready to help government implement its proposed cylinder recirculation model as part of a 9-point directive to help curtail frequent gas explosions in the future. The directive by government followed the Medina Atomic Junction gas explosion that left over 30 injured and 7 dead. Chief Executive Officer of the GCMC, Frances Esiam, says the company will design a program that will help roll out the program fully.
Well, currently we are producing 1,048 a day. 1,048 a day. And we're doing for this quarter, for the last quarter of 2017, we are expected to hit the production capacity of between 60,000 and 80,000 cylinders. Because if we have a firm order and contracts, you know, we produce on contractual basis. And next year, we should be able to put in over 800,000 cylinders for both domestic use and for the rural campaigns.
Addressing the concerns of Ghanaians on the quality of cylinders that will be in circulation, the GCMC CEO says her outfit will confiscate any cylinder that does not meet the safety standards and replace it with the standard ones.
I believe if you go into the past, we had a system where you needn't go to the pump station or gas station. You were in your house, your cylinder will be collected, it will be filled and brought to you. This time around, Ghana Cylinder is the only company who does refurbishments, gives advice on cylinders. In fact, we are the only production company, core production company, because others just put together components and weld them. But what we must assure the public of is, if your cylinder is picked up, what happens is that you are given an equally new cylinder. When we say new, it's in quotes, because a cylinder is picked. The essence of recirculation is that if the cylinder is defective, it doesn't come back to you in that way. It is automatically you're given a new cylinder, and whatever we take will be refurbished. And at the end of the day, when I say whatever we take, we will not be the only industry players. Of course, there'll also be private sector participation and other industry players. But what you must note is the cylinder you bring in will automatically not be the same, or you bring it in and pick another one. So whatever you take is virtually new. If you bring in something that is defective, it doesn't come back, because we are looking at safety.
Frances Esiam is also urging the LPG Marketers Association and other stakeholders to collaborate with government to secure the safety and well-being of Ghanaians. This comes in the wake of the nation maintenance works by the LPG Marketers Association that has caused an artificial shortage of the commodity across the country.
So all we are saying is that the president's policy should be welcomed by all Ghanaians, and especially to the LIPGA, the Liquefied Petroleum Gas Owners Association. We are all industry players. We should not show bad faith, because they are the main off-takers. In fact, they are partners with all of us in the downstream sector. They've been given assurances. Government can never destroy jobs. The government of His Excellency, Don Quarshie, seeks to create jobs, seeks for greater private sector participation. So I'll urge all industry players to see how best, as my chairman said, they can rather take advantage of the new policy and fit in. And we must know, the president mentioned categorically the implementation within a year. So meaning the time span accommodates all concerns and programs. So we should not let our fellow Ghanaians be in a tight corner, because across the world, in India, 70% of the rural population use gas by recirculation method. So would urge everybody to think of those who have died through the dangers, the hazards of gas explosions, and urge everybody to be a bit sober and let's all be patriotic.
Now to our communities, where some residents of Tetegu near Wager in Accra are unhappy about the manner in which a demolition was carried out in the area without prior notice. Some earth-moving vehicles and about 40 police officers moved into the community Friday dawn to carry out the exercise ordered by an Accra High Court. Although a court bailiff on the ground stated they are carrying out orders to pull down the fencing of the structures as warning to the owners, some buildings were partially demolished. The properties are on a disputed land. Joining us, Maxwell Agbagba has been speaking with some of the affected residents and a unit committee chairman of the area.
Yeah, I wake up this morning and had a call from the people in the area that there are some cars and policemen with some langars who are around their place demolishing their buildings. So I quickly called the assembly member and then the DC to come in. But the only thing they told us, the police told us, is a court order that they are using. But we can go talk to the bailiff. But as we were going, there are some landguards in between the police and the, how do we call it, and the bailiff who block us from going. So we couldn't go.
She says she was
at home when she had information that she should come to the community quickly because there are some earth-moving machines around. She says she asked the people who came with the earth-moving machines exactly what the reason is, but they wouldn't speak to her.
Inside,
how many build?
4-bedroom self-contained.
Okay. Well, this woman says that her property, a 4-bedroom self-contained, has actually been demolished by the team that came here. Okay. Over no. Alikojo. Well, she said she went to the market. By the time she returned, the officials, the police officers, and the team that came here, the team carrying out the demolition exercise, had demolished her structure. That well, she says she bought some cassava from the market that she wanted. Some of the things that she bought from the market, she had to put them at a friend's place. Right? Over 40 police officers accompanied earth-moving machines to this community to ensure that a court order was carried out. Court bailiffs we met on the ground told us they were just pulling down walls. But it looks like that is not the case, as this building behind me has been badly affected by the demolition exercise.
But the municipal chief executive of the Gun South Municipal Assembly, Joseph Nyani Stephen, who visited the demolition site, appealed to some of the officers carrying out the exercise to be lenient.
So I rushed down to this place. And in fact, when I came in, they were doing the demolition. So I quickly called the divisional commander, whether he's aware of the situation. And he told me, yes, he's aware. He was called from the region that they have the court order to do the demolition. So I called him. I called him back and I told him that, in fact, what is going on is not good. So he told me then he will call back the regional command and then inform them about my appeal. And later on, he just called me right now, telling me that the regional command said they'll call them to stop what is going on. So that's what I can tell for a short. Yeah.
Is it a private developer who secured the order to demolish the properties?
I don't want to go into details now. I was told it's one chief who obtained this court order to do the demolition. But I'm yet to meet the chief. Yeah.
You're still watching Joy News Prime. Coming up, still to come in this bulletin, President Akufo-Addo cautions military academy graduates not to use their positions to antagonize citizens as they take up the responsibility of protecting the country's territories.
Don't use your position to antagonize the very citizens whose sacrifices have made your training possible.
Welcome back to Joy News Prime. Now, Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, Nana Akufo-Addo, has cautioned the 2017 graduates of the military academy not to use their positions to antagonize citizens as they take up the responsibility of protecting the country's territories. President Akufo-Addo also charged them to adopt contemporary skills in dealing with unconventional conflicts. He made the remarks when he delivered the keynote address at a graduation ceremony at the military academy on Friday. Latif Idris has more in the following report.
A total of 103 Ghanaians graduated at the military academy as Navy, Air Force and Army officers, with 4 other foreign nationals, 2 each from Benin and Guinea, also graduating. 34 of the graduates received awards in 27 categories, with Sergeant Abeka Brown Mariama emerging the best in academics and Senior Under Officer Arthur Barnes Kwesi Jr. emerging as the overall best. Addressing the parade, the Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, Nana Akufo-Addo, cautioned the Army officers against provoking the very people they've set out to protect.
You must at all times discharge your duties professionally and diligently. Remember, you are to safeguard and protect the territorial integrity of the nation and its citizens, and not use your position to antagonize the very citizens whose sacrifices have made your training possible. Indeed, you owe it a duty to the nation towards ensuring its peace, stability, and development.
He also charged them to adopt skills to deal with threats posed by non-state actors like drug dealers and nomadic herdsmen.
Today, there are numerous intrastate and cross-border armed conflicts, employing several unconventional and asymmetric means of warfare. The traditional challenges to security on the continent, such as chieftaincy conflicts, armed robberies, land disputes, religious intolerance, ethnic conflicts, and political rivalry, are being compounded by contemporary threats like drug and human trafficking, proliferation of small arms and light weapons, cybercrime, and activities of nomadic herdsmen. Threats from all these non-state actors have called for a new approach to training in military skills and strategy in order to counter the challenges presented by the threat.
The president also promised to provide the infrastructural needs of the Ghana Armed Forces.
The Electricity Company of Ghana says it will be publishing names of defaulters in the media in the coming days. This forms part of rigorous measures taken to retrieve huge sums owed the company by some customers. Oversight Manager in charge of audit Emmanuel Into said this when he commissioned a customer service center at Mataheko in Tema. This is Kwame Yanke's report.
The Mataheko Customer Service Center is one of 11 centers commissioned simultaneously across the country at a total cost of 6.4 million cedis. The center is expected to improve customer experience to close to 8,000 users within the catchment area. Emmanuel Into, who represented Acting Managing Director of ECG, says the company will not relent in its effort to retrieve money due the ECG. He added that information and communications technology remains key in modernizing their operations.
I wish to make a passionate appeal to all our valued customers to pay their bills promptly and in full. We have embarked on an aggressive revenue mobilization exercise from now to the end of the year. In line with this, we have started disconnection exercises and issuance of demand notices to all our defaulting customers. Our next course of action is to publish the names of the recalcitrant ones in the national newspapers and on FM radio stations. I'm therefore appealing to all our defaulting customers to to go and pay their electricity bills promptly to avoid any embarrassment.
Meanwhile, head of ECG, Aviation District, Engineer Daniel Mensah says the company is undertaking several projects within Ashaiman to improve service.
Tomorrow we are coming to meet some chiefs and if all goes well, acquire a land. They are prepared to give us a land. So I can say that the rate of development there, we will start something with a customer service center. But the long-term objective is to have a district office for that area to serve the catchment of customers in part of Ashama, Zenu, Atadika, and Katamanso areas.
On his part, Chief of Mataheko, NEMA Market III, appealed to ECG to absorb unemployed youth in the area. Kwame Yanke's report for Joy News.
Let's do some health, and October every year is set aside as Breast Cancer Awareness Month. The month is also characterized by free screening from NGOs in health and other facilities. Now, some members of parliament have been speaking on the issue. They believe until the issue is treated more as a medical condition rather than a spiritual attack, Ghana will not make significant headway on reducing the rate at which breast cancer is spreading.
It is incumbent upon women, upon men to take care of their breasts. And it's not spiritual. They shouldn't leave it to spiritual beliefs. They shouldn't go home immediately they detect it. What will help is early detection. Early detection. And there are various ways of detecting it. You can even seek the assistance of your husbands, seek the assistance of your children to be touching your breast. It's not just for the play, for the joy, but rather it should be taken serious. And when detected, we shouldn't just leave it to spiritual beliefs, but seek early medical support. There are various organizations, several of them, who now offer assistance in that direction. You just join any of these groups, seek medical assistance, and you'll be cured. Even if you've not been cured, your life will be lengthened instead of going back to the village or relenting on your woes and then leaving everything to, let me say, faith or spiritual belief.
It had happened to me before, not that I have cancer, but I had pain in my breast for a while. And thinking about the stigma and the fear alone prevented me from even going out to check. So it's not about literacy or education or anything at all. It's about our human feelings. And finally, when I gathered courage and went for mammography, they call it, I went for the examination, it was detected that I didn't have anything. But actually, the fear was killing me. I would have died of the fear and not of the disease itself. So let me assure everyone, especially our women, that we should not be taken in by arguments that it is about witchcraft, it is about a curse from God, it is about sin, or anything of the sort. We've been told on and on and on that early detection is all really matters. So I will encourage everybody to go, especially the more you grow, the older you are encouraged to do the screening on a yearly basis. So actually it's time for me to go for screening, and I have to go for it. And let me also caution that men also do get breast cancer. So women can also check the breasts of men, whilst men also check the breasts of their women.
You're still watching Joy News Prime. Still to come in this bulletin, former Prime Minister Dr. Kwabena Don cautions government against rescission of controversial American power deal as he argues it will scare off investors.
If we aggravate this by rescinding decisions properly approved, because one government is in power and has numbers to push it through, it will be short-termish, it will not be in the national interest, and in my opinion, it will be misleading.
Enjoy News Prime. Darrell Kwa comes up with the business segment.
Hello everyone, welcome to Business. Measures rolled out by government to minimize the occurrence of gas explosions have not gone down well with LPG marketers. One of such is Kofi Nketia Tebiri. He's director of Express Gas, an LPG marketing and distribution company, who says the ad hoc reactions to developments in the downstream sector have already started affecting investments.
No investor is happy with uncertainty. I mean, no investor or businessman is happy with any environment of uncertainty, and so that you have to be concerned. If you think about it, if I went to invested in a business, okay, or invested in a company that was, let's say, developing stations, as of now, depending on whatever level they've gotten to, the directive is such that they have to stop. Now, even if they are allowed to proceed, they can't serve the two markets. They would be required to serve only one market, and so there would be some distractions, how do you call it, in my how do you call it, forecast or in my projections as far as the business is concerned. So as an investor, sure, I mean, you are jittery. You want to know what the end result or end game is, and all of us are kind of keen to hear the direction and the focus that this sector will go.
Marketing and communications analyst Kwabena is proposing counseling for staff of Tigo and Airtel who might be affected by the merger. According to him, some workers of the two entities would be laid off as a result of the merger, making such a program important. The National Communications Authority, NCA, has already given approval for the deal between the two companies. In an interview after a seminar on mergers and acquisition, lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, Dr. Kwabena said staff of the two companies must be treated fairly.
So I'm sure that they know where they stand, and I'm sure that a lot of people psychologically are prepared, on their next move. If not psychologically, even physically, people have actually been, targeting where they want to move, or where if they are going to be moved forcefully, where they go in their next line of action. So that's quite different, and I think that should be the process, for any, employee or for any customer, who is with an entity. If an entity is going to be taken over, consumers, as well as employees and other stakeholders must be somehow in the know. If they're not in the know, there must be, some procedures to kind of reduce the impact of panic or to reduce the uncertainty that actually swirl around them.
Aviation, now an indigenous airline, Africa World Airlines, has found its way into the International Air Transport Association ITA register. ITA membership is open to airlines operating scheduled and non-scheduled air services that maintain an IATA operational safety audit registration. Here's the head of commercial at Africa World Airlines, Richard Tre, explaining the impact of this development on their business.
To us, it's a big thing, and I will say that now we will be agile to have collaborations with the other carriers, most importantly the international carriers, because no single airline is self-sufficient. And what commercial-wise we pride ourselves with is the fact that now we will be able to have corporations like Interline and Codeshare with other carriers to drive traffic on our offline market.
Turning focus to the aphrodisiac market, and herbal sexual stimulants are gaining traction these days. The sale of such products is becoming a thriving business across the country. One such a market noted for brisk sale of these aphrodisiacs is the NEMA Market here in Accra. There, dealers are on a daily basis cashing in on the influx of patrons, many of whom believe it boosts sexual potency. Fozia has our story from the NEMA Market.
The issue of herbal sexual stimulants is a taboo topic in Ghana today, but its patronage is still high. Today, we are at the NEMA Market, where we have a whole place full of herbal sexual stimulants, and we are going to see how their business day looks like. These herbal sex stimulant dealers do not need any advertisement in the media to be able to sell their product. It's most times by word of mouth and the testimony of people who have used the products before. Some of these dealers I spoke with say the clientele base range from the ordinary class to the affluent in society.
We mix everything in small quantities. We mix them for both men and women. We also mix some to cure stomach problems. This one is asokore, this other one is 20, and this one is aflacho. We mix dankamaru too, and it can be chewed or mixed with a drink or water. We mix all these products to get a concoction. Some people like to chew it and others like it to be mixed. With the dog's penis, some people buy it like this. You can chew it or mix it with a drink. The one with the problem will come and patronize the product. People usually come here to buy these concoctions when they need them. Others go to the hospital, and when they get tired, they come here. They use this place as their last resort. Some people don't even know there is such market. On a very good day, I make 100 cedis and make 50 cedis when the market is not so good.
In the business?
50 Ghana and about market.
It heals people with waist problems. There are some people, when their women touch their thing, it refuses to stand. When you take a tablespoon of this, God willing, your strength in bed will shoot up and you can give her good orgasm. One costs 30 cedis. There are days when I don't get people to buy the product, but on a very good day, I make like 100 cedis, and on a bad day, I don't make up to 50 cedis. There are different types of sexual problems. I can even help with fertility if you need help to make children. One dose of my concoction can even give you twins. If a man drinks my concoctions, his woman will be happy and even call me to attest to it. My trade name is You Will Enjoy, and I can guarantee very good performance in bed even though my medicine is affordable. That's why people call it See and Look Down on It.
I also spoke with some users of these herbal sex stimulants, and they shared the extent to which they would go to patronize the products.
There's no side effect in it, but when I started taking it, I keep long during banging more than the time that I'm not taking it. So I think it helped me a lot. Only thing is, it's a dry this thing, tree. So you just pour pure water, 2 sachets of pure water in the bottle.
It's very affordable. I purchased it on 5 CD, 7 CD, yeah, if more of 7 CD, but 5 CD is okay. Most of the times at the market or maybe during this naming ceremony or marriage ceremony, they come and advertise themselves and I do purchase some. For now, to be sure of myself, I know I've purchased 3 or more of them. So 5 plus 4 or times 4, I've purchased like 20 CD or so like this. It has a very good effect on me because it helped me get nice erection and better ejaculation. I've taken probably 2 or 3 medicines, Chacha Whiz and Mamachi Heba. Yeah, they are good.
There is no effect on it, and well, since I started using it, so far so good. I've used it like 3 times and it's all good. Although it's bitter, but when you drink it, you have a good work with it. 40 cedis and above, 40, 50 cedis. I always get good compliments from them.
Obviously, the thriving herbal sex stimulant business will continue to grow as long as the desire by both men and women to satisfy their partners persists. Especially so when the stress of life and the workplace complexities continue to dominate contemporary lifestyles. For Joy Business, Fauzia to Adam reporting.
Welcome back to Joy News Prime. Now, the former Power Minister Friday appeared before Parliament's Mines and Energy Committee to react to accusations made by Adansia Asoka MP Katie Hammond that Ameri was not truthful to government in its negotiations. He had further alleged that the power company made away with $150 million for no work done, handing its responsibilities to a Turkish company. Dr. Don Quarshie, under whose tenure the deal was signed, told the committee Ameri did no wrong, adding a rescission of the agreement could affect investor confidence in the country. We can take a listen to Dr. Don Quarshie's addressing the media after his meeting with the committee.
I sincerely think his procedure is wrong. Our standing orders have no place for rescission of a decision taken by another parliament. Our standing order says we can rescind a decision within a section, and the section is a year, within the year. The intentions might have been honorable, but the process, in my opinion, is wrong. And Honorable Katie Hammond, my brother, and I've told him he was wrong. But it's all in wanting the best for Ghana. I think it's a learning experience for all the parties. And I wish this had been done earlier, rather than the mudslinging and calling names. I believe we should be talking to each other. It's very easy after the emergency. You were all here in 2015. After the emergency is over, we are on safe ground to look back and say, oh, you should have done this, you should have done this, when you are standing from a position of safety in the midst of the emergency. What we needed was power at all costs. The country was undergoing tremendous psychological hiccup. Factories were not having enough power to keep their factories running. Businesses were shutting down for lack of power. And I believe we took the right decision at the right time. Will we do that today? Definitely not once we are out of emergency. In normal times, the processes and procedures used are different. In emergency, the most important is the outcome and not necessarily the process. Then fraudulent before you sit down to talk. I think it was wrong, and as a nation, we should also learn from that.
So would you advise the current energy minister to negotiate with America?
He knows what he knows what to do. I believe an opportunity has been lost by stirring up the waters unnecessarily. I'm sure we can learn from it and going forward, avoid some of these mistakes.
From the evidence presented by Honorable Katie Hammond, you don't think there is a good basis for us to even look at the issues of misrepresentation as he advised? You have a contrary legal opinion.
Yes, you heard me. And also, I also strongly believe Parliament has no authority to rescind the decision. It is not in our standing orders. You see, the impact on future investments, if approvals by Parliament can be rescinded when a new government comes in, a new Parliament, because you have the numbers, you rescind it, what will be the impact on Ghana's investment climate? already for developing countries, there's a political risk of investment, and therefore we pay a premium for investment because of perceived political risk. If we aggravate this by rescinding decisions properly approved, because one government is in power and has numbers to push it through, it will be short-termish, it will not be in the national interest, and in my opinion, it will be misleading.
Doc, finally, so you think there is not a good basis for a possible recession?
Absolutely not. I think a recession will be a disservice to Ghana. So
Let's move to the northern region, where a dam which is being constructed with funding from oil money in Zakbalisi in the Savilugumion district of the northern region is yet to be completed after 3 years. The project was estimated to be completed in 18 months, and the inability to meet the deadline has affected crop farming and animal rearing in the area. This was revealed at an advocacy program organized by the Africa Center for Energy Policy on the benefits of the oil revenue and utilization. This is a report by Martina Boguri.
The forum was also to sensitize students of the area ahead of the exploration of the Sheni iron ore and to do a value for money analysis on oil-funded projects in the agricultural sector in the area. A senior programs officer at ASEP, Munira Abubakari, said even though the project should have been completed by now, some canals are yet to be constructed.
With the Zapalse project, there has been delay in execution. Up to now, the contractor has not finished some of the canals that he's supposed to construct, because he said the last certificates that he raised, they have not been paid. So if they have not been paid, they can't continue work. We also verified this information at the community level, where women were taking as casual labor to pick boulders in the construction of the dam, and they also were complaining to us that they've not been paid over a year of work that they've been done. Anytime they try to contact the contractor, they were told that, look, I've not also been paid. If I'm paid, I'll also pay you. So there are so many issues.
Madam Munira said the irrigation system has a potential of serving as a growth pole if attention is given to the area.
The northern sector in general, because of the climate issue where we have shorter rainfalls, so irrigation project kind of it has a potential of serving as a growth pool within their context, because they rear animals and the animals need water to drink. They need water for their domestic activity, and also more importantly, they need water to do their cropping. So if these delays are coming in, it's a bit of a challenge. Sometimes, yesterday where we went to the Zuidin Tambasi, the project has not been fully completed.
She also raised concerns about how thinly monies from the oil revenue were being disbursed, which made it difficult to track these resources.
The challenge is that the money has been spread too thinly over so many projects, and we as a policy think tank, we think for the reason of efficiency, we don't think that it's good to spread that money in that manner, because it's even difficult tracking where the money goes to. Besides, it also creates another problem where if you allocate money to a project and there are other funding sources that's coming to fund the same project, which is counterpart funding, it's not really easy tracking the money, and sometimes speaking to the right authorities and getting information on such projects becomes difficult.
Ghana must take advantage of the benefits associated with ICT to promote development. This is according to President of the Maranatha University College, Reverend Professor Simon Degbe. He says ICT has become a global tool for development and government must pay attention to it. He was speaking at the sword cutting ceremony of the construction of ICT Library and Community Center at the Maranatha University College in Accra.
The facility expected to be completed within the next 4 months will include one large-scale ICT library, a community center, 2 offices, 1 lobby and a washroom. In his address, President at the Maranatha University College, Reverend Professor Simon Digbe, expressed worry about the youth's lack of interest in reading. He believes construction of the facility will improve the situation.
ICT has become a global tool for development. And the more we emphasize on its teaching in our schools, the better for us as a nation. The world has become a small global village due to the power of ICT. Indeed, we need to take advantage of the benefits associated with ICT to promote development in our communities. In recent times, our Ghanaian youth demonstrate less interest in reading, which is contributing to the failing standards of education in Ghana. The construction of an ICT library of this sort and a community center, particularly for this constituency, will therefore be a turning point in our collective effort to reverse the situation.
Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration Shirley Ayoko-Botche, who is also the MP for Anyanso-Utum constituency, says the facility will, among others, provide an appropriate platform for social affiliation and support among constituents.
This center is expected to provide an appropriate platform for social affiliation and support among the constituents of the Anyanso-Utum constituency. The NPP government's focus is to provide every community with an ICT infrastructure to help members be in touch with global trends and also equip the people with the skills that will be necessary for Ghana's economic transformation. I am therefore happy to note that this community center, upon completion, would have two main facets. That is an information communication technology library and a social center. We are aware that the world is moving at a faster pace due to advancements in the field of information technology, and so the ICT library, which would be stocked with computers, printers, and scanners, would afford members of the community, especially the youth, to access relevant information when needed.
The facility, aided by the Chinese embassy in Ghana, when completed, will be the first multifunctional public service facility within the area.
Let's now settle for the rest of our stories. A 3-member committee set up by the Volta Region House of Chiefs has successfully completed mediation between the 3 subdivisions in the Anyigbe division of the Akpini traditional area in the Kwando municipality. This is the first step towards resolving a larger dispute which involves the Bisiako clan in the Bodome division, which had spanned about 40 years, retarding development of the Akpini traditional area. The Bisiako clan dispute was heightened by disagreements in the Anyigbe division, where stool fathers of Aloy and Fesi subdivisions invoked oaths on each other. Fred Kwame Asari filed the following report.
The development barred the chief of Fesi subdivision, Togbe Apeliga III, Chief of Aloy subdivision, Togbe Komlateng VII, and Chief of Aziavi subdivision, Togbe Diawusei VI, from coexisting for over 20 years. With this background, the mediating committee consulted the divisions separately before pacification rites were performed to take off the oath sworn by the 2 feuding stool fathers. The chairman of the mediation committee, Paramount Chief of Ziavi Traditional Area, Togbi Kweku Ayim IV, says he appreciates the cooperation of the 4 subdivisions. He also urged traditional authorities to severely punish anybody whose action might disrupt the peace and unity established in the Anyigbe division. The Member of Parliament for Kwando de la Soa indicated that reconciliation in the Anyigbe division is significant to the progress and development of the Akpini traditional area.
So if they are divided, you are exposed. Should there be any conflict, who is going to face the enemy? I mean, you can't even call each other and say, look, we are being attacked, let's go. So Anyigbe is very, very significant in the scheme of things. And if they are divided, then the whole Kwando is exposed.
Residents are optimistic all problems contributing to the protracted chieftaincy dispute will be resolved to ensure the Akpini traditional area gets one united front to demand development for the area. Fred Kwame Asari's report, for Joy News.
Angry residents of Kwabena Estate in Kumasi have vowed to close a partly collapsed bridge that links the community to the rest of the city to traffic. They accused the Urban Roads Department of failing to respond to repeated appeals to repair the structure, which has become a death trap. There are reports 3 people have drowned in the area in the last 4 years because the bridge cannot contain running water whenever it rains. Ohiming Teria caught up with some of the residents and has come through with this report.
This is one of the main covered bridges constructed over the Kwabena stream. It is the main outlet for waste and running water from the community and nearby Patase, Sofolai and Kwabena.
Motorists, commuters and pedestrians have had cause with this bridge because it's been eaten away by erosion, and not only erosion. I'm told some people have lost their lives here, and it's been a very difficult moment for road users who use this particular road to join other parts of Kumasi.
Soil around the main covered bridge, which facilitates water flow, has been washed away. Residents who live on the other side of the bridge are compelled to remain in their homes anytime it rains until flood waters recede.
Okay, actually there was one guy who was coming from Kwabena to West, like was, this place links Kwabena and then the estate. So what happens is that he was coming from Kwabena and then it happened like there was a lighthouse and then the river had overflowed his bank. When it overflows, all this place is flooded. So he tried going through, thinking it was possible to pass through, but then as he was going through, I think it swept him and then he just went away. Then we just found him later on at the other end.
The condition of the bridge continued to deteriorate, exposing motorists and pedestrians to danger. Deep cracks in the structure have forced the soil under the covers to cave in, creating crater-like hole beneath the bridge. Half of the road at that section becomes unmotorable amid fears any part of the remaining structure can cave in at any time.
You can see from how it is gradually dilapidating, you see. So I think you don't need a magician to tell you. You see, you come and see it for yourself. You see how risky is it to us.
Every blessed day I use this road. But the road is not good. It's dangerous to our health. So we beg you, please, try and do something about it for us. Rain season, you can't cross. You have to return. You can't cross. You can't cross at all. It's very dangerous. During rain season, when you get to this place, you see how the water is flowing. It's very dangerous. It's very dangerous.
Residents say several appeals to the Urban Roads Department to fix the broken covered bridge have fallen on deaf ears. For them, the only way to protect life and property is to close the road to use.
It's very, very dangerous for roads to be, for vehicles to be plying this road. It's very, very dangerous because almost half of the road is eaten away. Like, we can't be using this bridge as well. It has to be pulled down, and then new things are like something better should be constructed.
Those of us who live close don't want any more disasters. We have decided to close the bridge to traffic to protect lives. School children and motorists use this bridge. We don't want anyone to die.
Because we will block the road. It is dangerous to use the bridge. There is a big hole under the structure. It can pass for a galamsey pit. It can cave in any time.
Assemblyman for the area says the bridge has been awarded on contract for reconstruction. He says work will commence as soon as repairs of a similar bridge on the Patase-Ejunasi road is completed. Ashanti Regional Director of the Urban Roads Department, Francis Gambra, confirms the contract award. From Kumasi, for Joy News, Ohiming Teria reporting.
Well, following the presentation of the Honorable Minister for Communications on the floor of Parliament on October 19, 2017, the Ministry of Communications, in consultation with the National Communications Authority, NCA, has offered the following reprieve for FM broadcasting stations which were sanctioned for committing various infractions. Now, Communications Minister Esla Owusu-Ekufo joins me on the phone to give clarity on this reprieve. Good evening to you, Honorable Minister. Many thanks for your time on Joy News Prime.
Good evening, ma'am.
So, exactly what does this reprieve seek to do?
All right. As I indicated in my statement on the floor of Parliament yesterday, the law grants me the power to reconsider or review the sanctions that the NCA has imposed. And I have received a lot of petitions from affected radio stations. And so we sat down and decided that for the community radio stations at least, because of the vital service they provide for the communities in which they're operating, we will suspend all the sanctions against them, whether it is a fine or a revocation, and give them 30 days within which to rectify their anomalies in their authorization. If within that 30-day period they fail to renew the authorizations or do the right things to enable the authorizations to be renewed, then their licenses will stand revoked. So they have a 30-day window, regardless of which category of sanctions they fall in, to renew their authorization. For those who had fines imposed on them, we're giving them a 50% reduction in all the fines that have been imposed, regardless of the nature of the infraction. Those who had that category of stations which had their authorizations completely, they have 10 days from today within which to appeal or petition my office. And I will consider their cases on the situation on a case-by-case basis. Depending on the nature of the infraction, it will determine the nature of the sanction that will be imposed on them. That means that the automatic revocation of licenses is also suspended if they take steps within the 10 days to petition the Ministry of Communications for their cases to be reconsidered.
Honorable, is that no way?
Some already have.
Okay, yeah. Okay, you're on air. Let's listen to you, Honorable.
Yes, some already have looked at some of their cases and are considering the sanctions on Monday will announce whatever measures that we're going to take against them.
Honorable, you see,
and today is my birthday. So I think it's an auspicious birthday present to the affected youth. I'm waiting for them to bring me mine.
Happy birthday, Honorable. But you've given the option to the FM broadcasting stations we had the authorizations revoked, and you're asking them to petition you for a review of the revocation of the authorization within the 10 days. Yes. Is there no other way or no other means of handling this issue except for the petition?
No, well, some may be grateful that their licenses have been revoked. Maybe they wanted to shut down already, but we're looking for an excuse to do so because of probably the difficulties of the terrain in which they're operating. I don't know. So unless they take steps to have their case looked into, I wouldn't know which of them are not happy with the status quo. I've already approached us and we are considering their cases. So it is up to them. It stands revoked until they petition for their cases to be looked into.
All right, many thanks to you, Honorable Esla Owusu, is Minister for Communications. We'll take a break on Joy News Prime.